All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. Busy week for the Avs. We had 2 wins, 1 loss, and a broken water main break. Lots to get to in this one. It was interesting. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. You can follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe and get notified when a new show goes live. All right, Mr. Sullivan, the turkey dinner has been digested. We had a few days off last week, but a lot was happening in Avalanche land. And we talked at the beginning of the week last week how busy it was going to be with the 4 games. Only played 3, thanks to Nashville not paying their water bill. But still the 2 games that we were focused in on, even though 3 out of the 4 were division games, the 2 games that everybody was circling for the week were obviously against Dallas, and the Avalanche won both of them. One in a shootout at the beginning of the week, and then the other one in regulation at the end of the week. So you have to feel pretty good about that. And even though you still trail Dallas in the division, you have 3 games in hand on them. So like we've been saying for the past couple of weeks, the Avalanche are sitting pretty when it comes to where they are in the standings and just how they're playing. Yes, even in that loss to Vancouver, who you don't want to lose to, I understand that. I thought the Avalanche looked good. They've been playing more consistent hockey than at any point during the regular season, even though we're only 2 months into the season. I get that. But you got to feel good.
And not only are they playing more consistent hockey, members of the Avalanche are dropping like flies. After you drop that game against Vancouver, the way you rebounded with your travel schedule kind of being thrown off, you expected to go to Nashville and it turned into Smashville in a water main. And then you have to go to Dallas. And then you not only rise to the occasion, you dominate that game. You're seeing a lot of consistency and you're seeing the depth step up. You saw contributions from like Dryden Hunt, like Kaut looked good at times. Like you're seeing what we've been asking for. And yes, the Vancouver game, you blew it in the third. Whoop-de-doo. You did it. You have a couple games that you shouldn't have lost, but right. You've responded accordingly. So this is a lot of good going into this next week of games.
I totally agree. Like, yeah, you don't want to lose that game to Vancouver. You're going to lose other games during the regular season that you don't want to lose. Okay, it happens. How do you follow it up? And you follow it up with what was supposed to be, a game against Nashville. Was that Nashville game after the Vancouver game?
Yes.
No.
It was Vancouver, supposed to be Nashville, then Dallas.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're right. So how you follow it up, regardless, you lost to Vancouver and you followed it up with a very good game against a very good team. So fine. Like you have the loss, take the loss, even though you don't want it. And then look at play that tape to the end. And that tape at the end is you had a bounce back victory against the division leading team in Dallas. And I am just impressed night in and night out right now with how the Avalanche are playing as a unit, as a team. Those things in the beginning of the season where the depth was just, throwing that Harry Potter cloak on and you couldn't see him at all. They are playing so much better right now. And it's not just like Jared Bednar can roll those 4 lines when the situation presents itself to do that. Yeah, if you're trailing, you're going to obviously play the top lines more. But right now, man, I'm just so impressed with all of these guys who are filling in slots that these guys are dropping like flies. Like you said, we know that Evan Rodriguez is going to be out possibly up to a month. So add him to the list of the never-ending list of injured players for the Avalanche. But now that these guys just keep playing, we've had so many injuries. These guys that are putting in for them, they have so many games now, and they have so much time on ice. They're getting more comfortable. They're getting their game back. You know what I mean? So is it surprising? Yes and no. Yes, because you have so many injured players and you have so many guys that just you've never seen before and have a lot of time on ice at the pro level. And now that they do have a lot of time, they're starting to come into their own. You love to see this stuff. And I'm overly impressed. I am overly impressed with how they're playing and how, we talked about Jared Bednar last week about, the job that he continues to do with whatever hand he is dealt. He figures out a way to get the best out of these guys. They're playing well. And I know nobody likes the Vancouver loss. I get that. But like we were just saying, how do you respond? The Avalanche are responding well, if you ask me.
And it's two fronts. You have the Eagles. They were brought in under temporary positions, and now they're part-time. Like they all got promoted with everybody getting injury, like all the injuries on the team. The Eagles are now part-timers. You're going to be here a while. We still have problems. And on the other front, it's different when you're losing games and you throw up your hands, like Nathan McKinnon scores 2 goals, Cale Makar gets 2 goals, and Mikko gets 2 goals. You're doing everything in your power, and you're losing games. You're throwing up your hands. I don't know what we have to do. The Avalanche aren't losing games like this. And you could see with the way they rebounded against Dallas, they know what they did wrong. They know where they let up, and they can adjust. If you're able to adjust with the deficiencies in the lineup, you're missing your big names out there. Georgiev can still sit down and not allow anything by him, no matter what the defense is doing in front of him. If Georgiev can respond that way and the team can make adjustments like that period to period, you are sitting good. I know the loss doesn't sit well, but the adjustments they are making is what you need to focus on, and that is what we can hold on to no matter what the injuries look like. The Avs as a collective unit are making the right adjustments, because last year we had that ugly game against Boston.
Yeah.
And it's one of, you can mention that game, everybody rolls their eyes. They know how bad that game was. They're making the adjustments we were making last year now, and that's something positive you can build on.
Yeah, and I heard, they brought up Oscar Olausson.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember where I saw it. Might have been Peter Ball who tweeted it out or somewhere. I don't remember, but I guess they were toying around with the idea of bringing up Foodie, because they liked what he's doing on the Eagles right now. So they were thinking about giving him a shot. They eventually went with Olausson. And that was the game that Rodriguez got injured. And they put Olausson right on the second line. And Bednar said something to the effect of like he wanted him to it was more of he wanted him to be on a line with guys who kind of play his style, which just so happened to be the second line, which is why he put him there. It wasn't like, yeah, he's that good, we're going to throw him on the second line. It was kind of like a strategic move to put him on the second line. And then, Evan Rodriguez gets injured, and it kind of threw everything for a loop. And it just, it didn't go the way that I thought he looked okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting. Like they were going between him and Foodie. So maybe Foodie's going to get a shot here at some point pretty soon. I would love to see it, but we shall see.
And Bednar, Sakic, and McFarland get to play everyone's favorite game, ELC, and let's count them down. Like you have 10 games, and then that ELC is burned.
It's kicking
so
it, right?
We get to put it together now. What these combinations are going to look like. It works twofold. Like the Colorado Eagles, as they sit right now, aren't really threatening for the Calder Cup. So you could take that talent that's sitting there and you could cultivate it. You could purge it. If you have to make a move, you know what your team looks like when they're playing at the National Hockey League level. So you're putting your Foodies, your Olaussons, Dryden Hunt's up there. We've seen Maltsev at times. We've seen like the lineup night to night. You get to see what these players will do in any given, like they could have put Olausson on the fourth line and just cycled him up like they have everybody else, but they know his talent because of the preseason, which we talked about at length and at nauseum about how they looked in the preseason. Second line. That's what we've seen. That's what your potential is. You're there. You're going to work your way down. Many others have. Let's see what you can do. And you can play with the Eagles and see where your talent actually is.
Yeah, and then they brought Sampo Ranta back up,
Yep.
and he was on the fourth line, and again, he's another one who, as he continues to play, just looks better. It's not like
Yep.
he's jumping off the screen, but when you're watching kind of like the details of the game, like he's mixing it up. He's a big body.
Yeah.
So he needs to kind of play that role, like kind of like the Nico Sturm role
Yeah.
of being kind of not. I use the term enforcer loosely, but because he has skill, he has speed, he has offense ability, but he's also a big body that can throw his weight around if need be, and he's starting to do that.
It's so funny you brought up Nico Sturm because in that Dallas game, I had that same vibe with him running around in that reverse retro. I was like, man, that looks like Sturm out there in his play style. I was like, I wish he would start adapting this a little bit more. It's our hive mind, my friend.
Well, we will discuss those reverse retros a little bit later, but we are also going to get into specifically this most recent Dallas game and kind of break that down and kind of individual efforts because there were some really good ones in that game. But first, we are going to hear from Simply Safe. And like we've been saying, Mr. Sullivan, it is the holiday season. Packages are coming fast and furious to your doorstep, and people are lurking around the corner. I don't mean to scare you, but it happens. It happens. I think Mr. Sullivan is one of those guys.
I could be. Order a reverse retro. Find out.
He knows what the packaging looks like for the reverse retro. Order a reverse retro and find out if that gets stolen from Shaggy Von Doom. Oh my God. Don't do that.
Be lurking in your yard like the Grinch.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Our friends over at Simply Safe Home Security are offering 50% off of their award-winning security system so that more families can feel safe and secure this holiday season. So order your Simply Safe system for half off today and enjoy advanced security and greater peace of mind for this holiday season. Don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system that we recommend. Once again, it's 50% off any new Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl. There is no safe like Simply Safe. All right, man. So this most recent game against Dallas, the first one we talked about, shootout win for the Avs, which was good because they got the win, but they only gained 1 point. This one, you win it in regulation, you gain the 2 points. That's always good against the team that's above you. But as far as the game goes, like again, like this was, I just thought an overall very, very solid performance for the Avalanche. And the one thing that sticks out, Alexandar Georgiev is no joke.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like the goals he is letting in, like nobody is beating him solid?
No.
Like these goals that are getting in are kind of like, the one that was like kind of just sitting on his pad and he kind of got like pushed in. He always has good positioning, and teams need to get those kind of like excuse me goals on him because he's not letting just like these slap shots just go flying over his shoulder and they just, the water bottle goes flying up. That doesn't happen with him. He is playing incredible, and I'm amazed at how little recognition he is getting for what he's doing. And I just put up maybe 2 hours before we're recording this, the NHL's Twitter page always throughout the season puts up kind of where people stand with like best coaches, which we all know where Jared Bednar stands with that in the grand scheme of the media. And they always do like, Hart Trophy, like kind of just updating. And they just did one for Vezina. They always put the top 5 in the graphic. And then on the bottom, just in text, they put other receiving votes. And there's like 2 or 3 other guys. Georgiev was nowhere on that list. And that blows my mind.
Tell me the league office isn't on the East Coast in New York City.
Come on,
telling me.
People. Like, what are you watching?
Yeah, I know.
What are you watching for him to not even be on that list anywhere? That I think there was, like I said, 5 and then 2 guys at the bottom. You're telling me he's not a top 7 goalie in this league right now? You're not watching the Avalanche, which is no surprise to me because even though they are a Stanley Cup champion, defending Stanley Cup champion team, they're always going to be that team that doesn't get the limelight like, your big market teams and your Canadian teams. But the way that this guy is playing, if you don't think he's one of the top goalies in the league right now, you clearly are not watching the Avalanche play.
You get it, not just from Georgiev, but both goalies. Like Frankie let up that 1 shot, 1 goal. And that's like, he gets in this mode where he sits down and he's like, that's the last one. Frankie He changes his mindset. One shot, one goal. That's it. Georgiev, you have to get John Madden-esque on why it went in, because it's never a bad beat. It's never, oh, he completely misplayed that one. No, it's a fluke. It's off a like Cale Makar skate, or it has no business going
Just like a
in the
crazy
goal.
redirect or something like that, like one that nobody's going to stop. Like, yeah.
I'm at the point now where I have so much confidence in Georgiev and what he does. Like
Yeah.
he is just locked down, and I never have to worry. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-goal lead, 3-goal lead. If Georgiev's back there, fine, let's go. I can't wait to see what the offense is doing, because I don't have to worry about the goaltending. And Georgiev is out of this world. And we talked about Darcy Kemper and his demeanor as one of the things we championed. Georgiev is the exact same way. He is just deadpan. He is just, I mean, he's business guy.
It's the most comfortable I felt with an Avalanche goalie in quite, maybe since that Vezina like season that Varlamov had. Yeah, and you know, with all the other goals we've had, you go through periods where they're solid, and then they're having like a good run, and yeah, you feel good. But then it, you know, eventually it drops off, and then they have like a couple bad games in a row. He hasn't had that yet. He probably will. You know, he's going to have a bad game. But so far this season, he has been rock solid.
Yeah.
And I, you know, we talked about him over and over again before the season even started. And I said over and over, I would love to be proven wrong by him. Completely have been. He has been, you know, you're always going to have Makar and Rantanen's having an amazing season. And so is Nathan McKinnon. No shock there. But if you were to ask me right now, who's the most valuable player on the Avalanche, I don't know if he would win it. He's in the conversation for sure.
Absolutely. And, you know, you brought it up in the first segment about how this team is like gelling and getting together no matter what line it is. And I think that has a lot to do with Georgiev, where you see that especially on the defensive play. And like, when we're going to start talking about individual performances in that Dallas game, Josh Manson's one of them. He tallied a goal.
Yeah.
I know we'll talk about the penalties.
I want to talk about him. Yeah, go ahead.
But if you look at where like Cale Makar, Taze, Manson, where the D is playing, they're not hovering on the blue line. They're playing deep, because they have this belief and this confidence in their goalie where they can get a little risky playing defense.
That is a risk
but you see it. But you see them playing deeper where you didn't last year when it came to like Darcy Kemper or even Frankie back there.
Do that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And but yeah, they have this confidence, and it feels like it's one less thing they have to worry about. And the defense can play more offense, and there's more freedom playing offense because you don't have to worry so much about your goalie. And I feel like the cohesion on the forwards and the defense and the goalie play work hand in hand with where the Avalanche are sitting right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So, and you ride that out as long as you can. You don't like to see, I think Dallas had 42 shots on goal. You still don't want that.
No.
You don't want to put that much pressure on your goalie where it's like, hey, you know, you're playing so great. We're just going to let them, you know, pepper you with 42 shots. But some of that is just Dallas, you know, being a good team. So,
and I feel like they're being experimental with how they're playing defense and what they're getting away with and what they're compensating for on the injury front.
Maybe. I mean, they had a rough go of it in the beginning of the season. So I don't know. I don't, if they are, I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to be experimental. Play your game normal and make life less miserable for your goalie who's playing out of this world right now. Just don't continue to rely on that. You mentioned Josh Manson. I definitely want to talk about him because Jared Bednar with a quote of saying he's like he had a heck of a time, or however he worded it. I did not have a problem with any of the penalties that Manson was called for. I honestly didn't. The one that was the check that he gave up against the board, I don't know how that was really holding. I didn't see it. The one where he had the tripping was clearly tripping, but he was trying to make a hard play, and the stick, sometimes that just happened. He wasn't deliberately trying to trip the guy. He was kind of The puck kind of like redirected. He was going one way, the puck was going the other way, so he kind of adjusted, and the puck got, or the stick got caught between the Dallas player's legs.
Mm-hmm.
All those penalties were just hard fought. They weren't stupid penalties, if you ask me. So the penalties I didn't mind, and then he gets whacked in the face, and nothing is called there, and maybe the phrase of the year took place: no injury, no penalty. I can't wrap my head around that one for the life of me.
We are checking off my bingo card when it comes to hockey. When it comes to watching England take out our own goalies, never seen that before in my life. And then a referee on television say no injury, no penalty. I never in my life. Never.
I don't get it. The first one against Manson was interference. And even that, it wasn't like this intentional. He was just skating, and he turned around, and he just happened to be in a guy's way. Okay, like you can live with those penalties. I didn't think they were egregious and stupid. I always go back to the Nikita Zadorov penalties, which were just so dumb. It was not that. They were not that. And then, he does tally a goal in the game, so he redeems himself a little bit. I think he had an assist too.
I believe he did.
Yes, he did. So an eventful game for Josh Manson, but it was all hard work ethic, in my opinion. So, and the Avalanche, that kind of leads me into their penalty kill. They played half of the second period on a penalty kill, and overall, I think they're moving up. I think they're like 20th now, 20th or 21st in the league. But if you, like I said before, if you remove like the first 3 weeks of the season, they're one of the top penalty kills in the league right now. They have really, really turned that around. 1 for 5 Dallas was on the power play, and the Canucks 0 for 5. You don't want to take that many penalties in a game, but the Avalanche are killing them right now. They are all of these things that were kind of just in the beginning of the season that you're doing some good things and some bad things. They're all kind of moving towards the center of everything that they're doing right now. They're doing relatively well. Including the penalty kill.
Number 1 in the league on the power play, 33.8. 20th in the league with the penalty kill at 77.6, which was a substantial improvement from the bottom.
Well, it's tough to move up. I mean, you know what I mean? Like once a couple months in the season happen, like those percentages don't move a lot. So it's tough to move up and move down, but they have kind of methodically moved through the 20s.
Yep.
They were 29th.
Yep.
For a good portion of the early part of the season. So they're doing a lot of things very, very well on the penalty kill. I'm happy about that. All right. So we have Soundcheck to get to for this Dallas game. So we're going to get to that. And then the Avalanche wore these reverse retros against Dallas. I've said I've always liked them. Kyle was kind of on the fence. Did his mind change seeing them, not in the flesh, that you weren't at the game, but on the screen, everybody on the team wearing them? You saw the full getup. Did that change anything for Mr. Shaggy Von Doom?
Am I stealing it off your porch?
Let's see. He's going to be grinching the reverse retros. We shall see. But first, we're going to talk about betonline.net, which is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. And I really hope you are not betting on those Denver Broncos. God, I don't like this. I've been a Bronco fan my entire life. I've never seen a struggle like it is right now with them. And my good friend who I just went to go visit North Carolina is a Panthers fan. He's not even bragging about that win. He's just like, it's not that his team is any better, but man.
Carson Wentz has more touchdown passes than Russell Wilson, and he hasn't played a game since week 6.
Unbelievable, man. Struggle. So, but you can still get the latest odds on the Denver Broncos. I don't know who they got next. Look who they got next week while I'm doing this ad. So look up the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer, esports, even hockey. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love podcasts, you can find those as well at BetOnline. We are always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. That is betonline.net. It's where the game starts.
Baltimore.
Oh, jeez. Okay. That's not going to be good. All right, sir. So we do have a sound check to get to for the Dallas Stars game. We didn't do one for Vancouver because that led into Thanksgiving and it was just busy for both of us. So we didn't do one for that. But we have one for the most recent Avalanche versus Stars. So you can go to Spotify, search Locked On Avalanche Soundcheck. This is volume 2, and we pick songs that we feel best summarize the most recent game. What do you got?
Everybody knows I'm the heavy metal ska punk guy. Sometimes some 90s gangster rap. You don't know me. I'm not continuing that trend tonight.
Okay.
Elton John.
Ooh.
Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
Yeah, we got to give some credit to Mr. McDonald.
Yeah.
For mixing it up. And another good fight.
McDonald taking up for the team. The whole game was chippy. That's why the refs were on Manson so bad, because he was like a pit bull in every little scrum and the corners and the boards. There was extra checks, finishing checks after the whistle. It's Dallas Stars Avalanche hockey, and Saturday night was a fight.
Yeah, but I thought it was good chippiness. I didn't think there was any cheap shots going around.
It's to that kind of like competitive chippiness that you grow to expect with 2 playoff caliber teams.
Yeah,
it's respectable.
I like that. And I think that's a very solid pick. It fits. For me, I'm going with an instrumental heavy, I don't say heavy metal, but heavy rock band. They're called Man Is Not a Bird is the name of the band. And because the Avalanche had that whole situation in Nashville, they made the flight there. Nashville had the water main break, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen the videos that have come at it. Like that was, when I first heard about it, I thought it was like in the general area and it just affected the arena. Oh, that was inside the arena.
In the tape room.
That was like a water slide park that you could turn that arena into. So they went there, game canceled, had to fly back, and then they followed that up with a good game eventually against Dallas. So because of that, Man Is Not a Bird has a song that is called Survived the Great Flood.
Ooh.
And that is what is going to be on the Locked On Avalanche Soundcheck Volume 2 for me. So good, really good band, man. Like really good. Like
I'm gonna check that out.
Instrumental stuff. Awesome. I think they have a couple songs with a couple lyrics here. Like kind of like Mogwai. I don't know if you know who Mogwai is. But Mogwai does a lot of instrumentals, but they started incorporating lyrics.
Like Blue Man Group.
That's true. Yes. And we've had Blue Man Group on Volume 1. Yes, we have. So there you go. Go check those out. Subscribe to or follow that. And every game, we throw a new song on there. So that's what we got today. All right, reverse retros were worn for the first time. Little side note on reverse retros. Everybody knows my disdain for the Vegas Golden Knights. I absolutely love how all they could really talk about was them walking through the tunnel to the ice in those reverse retros that glow in the dark, because they got blown out by Vancouver 5-1. So you can't talk about the game. You have to talk about how your jerseys glow in the dark, which is cool for like 10 seconds.
It was cool for 10 seconds.
Yeah. Ours wore them for the first time in this Dallas game. I liked them when they came out. I think I like them even more when you see them on the entire team and they're all out there on the ice. I think the gloves are great. I think the socks are great. I think the helmets are awesome with the C on it. From top to bottom, I liked that. Like I said, I liked them when I just saw the jersey, and when you see it in full with the whole team wearing them, I think they're pretty sharp.
When they were revealed, I initially hated them, like despised.
Yeah, you did.
After that game, it almost brought me to the point of putting it up there between like home, away. Reverse retro almost hit right there. The thing that kills it for me,
Yeah.
My day job, I'm involved with the AHL,
Mhm.
and those shoulder patches, I feel like this is
I
the
will get yes.
it feels like a minor league jersey. If they would take off the Avalanche logo on the shoulder, sign me up, third best Avalanche jersey we have. And I
Yeah.
would put it above the reverse retro of last year because it's cool, but I like the original, original.
Mhm.
This reverse retro would jump that if it wasn't for those shoulder patches. It feels like the Eagles playing other teams.
It is a little weird. I will say that. Yep. I think that's the one thing that. What would you put in place of it? I mean, just
Nothing.
no.
Just go solid blue. Like, we know you're the Avalanche. Come on, you've got
Yeah.
poster guys on your team. Like, we know who you are. Put
I
nothing.
know.
Just have that blue. Good to go.
I know there's a lot of people saying like, "Oh, I'd put the Yeti foot." Like, no, I wouldn't. Well, I mean, I would say, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do that. And
No.
and I've talked about this before with a couple of people online. Like, they got to bring back the Yeti foot. They just took away the Yeti foot not that long ago.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna like they're going to create demand for that. And the demand might be 10 years from now. Like, you're not going to see anything Yeti foot, I would say, in the next 10 years. Because look at what they did with the Nordiques. It took them
25
years before they did anything with the Nordiques. So the fact that they just took the Yeti foot away, I think it was like 4 years ago.
It was
Yeah. So like
things.
it's not they were not going to do anything with. I know a lot of people wanted the Yeti foot just like front and center crest. Yes, that would be cool.
YOLO.
It's not happening right. It's not happening right now. So
No.
yeah, I think it's a good idea just to do nothing. I'd be okay with that.
And it would have been, honestly, it would have been perfect. Like, every time I would start to fall in love with that jersey, we take a face off. I'm like, my God, this looks like a minor league jersey. And I
It is a little
immediately
weird.
go back
You're
to
right.
reading it.
Yeah. But again, a lot of people are in love with the the number font,
Oh,
which
the font.
is fantastic.
After this year, it should be the font going forward.
I would love to bring that back. I really would. I mean, I like the Mikko Rantanen one behind me, like that.
Yeah.
It's very nice and kind of like modern, almost has like a minimalistic look to it. But yeah, those that font was nobody had that.
No.
That was just specific for your team. And there's some numbers.
Yeah, like, looking at that font, like, when you think about it before, you think about like Sakic, Forsberg, Waugh, seeing those numbers, you could jot them down
that
on
just
paper all
looks-
day. There you go. You're back.
Yeah. Okay.
But when you had the 33, 21, 19, you could jot them down all day long. But when you see them in that font on the jersey, it's all time.
There's some that I just love. Like I got a Mikko Rantanen one because I love the pointiness of like the 9 and the 6. I thought Sam Girard's looked awesome.
Oh
The
yeah,
4 and the 9 looked so good.
Sampo's looked good. That how they did his little 75.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
looks
mean,
so
they're
good.
sharp. They're sharp. Maybe they do bring that back. I don't know. I don't think anybody would be against that. So we shall see. But I don't know. I've seen some teams come out with a calendar of when they're going to wear their reverse retros.
I have too.
I don't. The Avalanche haven't done that I've seen.
I haven't seen
So,
it either. I think
we'll
it was
have to-
announced,
Yeah,
but I cannot remember seeing a
I
calendar.
don't remember. So I think it should just be one of those things. Hey, you wanted them, wear them every single time until you don't.
Ooh,
Until you lose it. I know they're not going to do that, but
I dig that.
all right. So that'll wrap it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow with whatever happening in Avalanche Nation. But there is a game on Tuesday, and that is against Winnipeg, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, nice little revenge game there for the Avalanche. So, so we will be back tomorrow to discuss anything going on in Avalanche world. Until then, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.